it starts by just doing what you say you're going to do. I have always been taught growing up, and then also just business has taught me to always try to provide more than what you promise. The world kind of teaches you to be a professional, because if not, you will probably fail.
Welcome to the Trust Business Podcast. I have a very special guest today. I have Datri with Chammowne Enterprises. Datri runs a kitchen, a cabinet painting and company. So Datri, thank you so much for getting on. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Today we're going to talk about basically professionalism in home services and what that means and what that looks like in the current landscape. So first, to get started, we were just talking about it off camera, but you do a very, very cool business model. I freaking love it. Basically taking old cabinetry that's, maybe 10, 15, I'm sure even older, and then restoring it and bringing it back to life. So talk to me about that, how you found that, and then what's so special about the process you go to and this thing that you do with the cabinetry, so we get some background on you.
Okay. So how I found it was the first set of cabinets I ever painted was my own, and that was to get it ready to go on the market.
And how long ago was that?
6-7 years ago.
Cool.
And that is also how I became a home stager, kind of accidentally and providentially. And then when I moved to Florida 6 years ago, I was home staging, and painting the cabinets is part of what we did as a full service home staging company. We did everything it takes to get your property ready for the market. And a lot of times that meant cabinet painting.
Yeah.
And over the years, I just got really good at it. I'm really meticulous, so that helps. And I started getting calls to do that for people who were not going on the market, just the general public.
Yeah.
And that kind of grew and grew and sustained me through COVID, because so many people were buying houses without inspection and without even seeing it. And then I would get the calls, oh, we hate these cabinets, can you fix them? So more and more and more as it grew, I just started thinking this is the direction I want to go in. So we closed down staging and now full-time cabinet painting.
I love that. I love that. And a key word you said just a few moments ago, I want to touch on. You said use the word meticulous in regards to your approach when you're going at these cabinets and doing your process on them.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about, this is something that I've observed in home services in general, across the board, whether it be painting, whether it be kitchen remodeling, whether it be roofing is a huge one, obviously, and dear to my heart. But, the level of professionalism, I would say on average sometimes, is lacking in the standards of what that looks like being in a home and operating with somebody's home, their biggest investment. So talk to me about that. Why do you think, because I'm sure you've seen that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that is, and what do you think that, people like you, who want to be meticulous, and me as well, that's how I want to be, it's how I want my guys to be, can be a part of changing that and making that better in our industry?
Well, I think it starts by just doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I have always been taught growing up, and then also just business has taught me to always try to provide more than what you promised, even if it's a little bit. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but as long as you meet expectation and a little more, then the client is super happy. And we do kind of get a black eye in the trades sometimes for being unprofessional, and that's something that I just never do. I'm always very careful with that.
Yeah.
My clients, most of them end up being my friends.
Yeah. I love that mindset that you touched on, though. That's amazing. Just doing, even if it's a little bit, just a little bit more and further than whatever the client is expecting or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you did promise. By doing that, you end up with happy clients, and you end up with a brand and, that grows and does well and is strong. And I feel like the mindset sometimes in the trades is just do, I don't want to call it the bare minimum, but sometimes I see it. It's like the bare minimum. It's like, okay, good. The payment is just for plumbing and repair. Okay, good. We should come in and get it done. Good, and get out. Well, it could be a little bit more. It could be come in and get it done, but with professionalism, with a smile and a firm handshake. Thank you so much. Blah, blah, blah. And these are other services we also can provide if you ever need them. Maybe tell them about some other services. How can you provide value to that person's life in their day, even in a little way? And companies that strive and push toward that in my opinion, are the ones who end up doing the best. So I love that mentality rather than a mentality of do just exactly whatever you were supposed to, or do, God forbid, do less and maybe cut corners and don't do, as much as what you promised or what you went over. So I love that. Talk to me about like, okay, you're amazing because you actually are in the homes and doing the work yourself, which I love and I admire because that's where I come from, is doing my roofing. So you are, right now in the stage where you're doing that work yourself in the homes on a day to day. Talk to me about like some of your process, like some of the little things that you do, like I just mentioned, to go a little bit above and beyond what a homeowner might expect out of your services.
Well, sometimes they aren't sure what to expect, and I've had that reaction quite often. I think they watch a little too much YouTube, and
Yeah.
they either have a good expectation or a lower expectation, and they're just amazed when I'm pulling the tape and the plastic and the paper off. Like, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful, and I didn't expect that. And part of that is that meticulous sanding of every little profile every time, and spraying lacquer helps. Lacquer gives the best finish. And then building a relationship. I'm lucky that I get to be in the home with them and kind of get to know them. And then I do have those opportunities to pass on information. You can pick up on little things. Maybe they have a leak under their sink that you noticed, and maybe I can provide a plumber that I know, or, because I know so many of the trades guys.
Right. Right. Sometimes there's, the ways like you're saying, you can build value and bring value. It's not necessarily like you're doing anything that costs you any money or monetary anything. It's just
Right.
actually just having empathy and caring about the person in front of you, bringing your professionalism, because that's, again, the end of the day, we are professionals. Like I was at the dentist the other day and I was getting my dentist stuff done. And the dentist just like brought up some stuff I didn't ask about or need, but just some extra things I could do and this and that, and just kind of went above and beyond on some educational stuff. And I appreciated it. I was like, that was awesome, right? And that's kind of what you're talking about. Like you notice a little problem or something that you know about because of your trades background, bring it on, and hey, I have this great partner that I can connect you up with if you ever wanted to, no pressure, but, and then boom, now you're helping them connect with someone else who can solve their problem, helping this person out. And that's that kind of little thing that it ends up being that little above and beyond rather than just exactly what you promised. No, you went a little bit above and beyond. So I love that. I love that mindset. Helping obviously refer and, always thinking of your different partners out there is amazing. And this is something that is so key. Like, you're on the show because of you're in a networking group with one of my managers, Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And all of our sales guys are all in those networking groups. What I always tell them is, the more you give, the more you refer, the more you help other people in your group and get interested in them and what they need and want, right? As a referral partner in your industry, then the more they're going to give back to you. So that's so key. And then also, like you're saying, that can provide more professional for the homeowners in the house and everything. So let's see. So talk to me a little bit about like like the details, like your process in the home when you're going about this stuff and you're going to restore a cabinet. What are some of the processes you go through, little things that just make you a little bit different rather than, I don't know, somebody else, another handyman out there, or another this or that? Like what makes you different or stand out or professional in the home?
So the entire process starts with, obviously the consultation.
Right.
We get the colors down. We decide if we're going to keep the same pools, if we're going to change, are we going to fill holes, drill new holes, are we going to do one color throughout, all of that. And then I come and I take off all the doors and drawer fronts and take them back to my shop. I get them.
So you take them into your shop. Okay, got it.
Get them completely done, all the way through. And then, depending on the size of the kitchen, that can take 5 days.
Yeah.
Then I go back into the home, and every single thing that I don't want paint on gets covered in tape, plastic, and brown paper.
Right.
And then I put up a zip wall, so I'm in a contained environment because
so the fumes and
right, because I spray lacquer, the real stinky stuff, and that is one of the things that is different from what I do, from what some other cabinet painters do. Is I actually use a solvent-based lacquer. It is not a water-based lacquer. It's super stinky. The overspray is like dust, and if it ever gets out of that containment, it's a mess.
Yeah.
So we try real hard not to let it get out.
Yeah.
And then, so that's first day. It takes one entire day to do all the prep. We'll pull the fridge out and have the client make like a little makeshift kitchen, like they have their microwave or their coffee pot and
Yeah.
toaster oven. Pull the fridge out where they can still access it. It's plugged in, but we
Right,
just
you
shut
get it
the
out of your
water off.
containment barrier so they
Yes.
can still have what you need.
And that's really the only full day that they're out of their kitchen. The next day, it's prep, prime, paint.
Yep.
The lacquer dries within 10 minutes. I can spray a door and pick it up and install it in 10 minutes. It won't even pressure mark.
Yeah.
And once that is done, then it's just taking all that paper and plastic off. Then they're free to use their kitchen. They don't have their doors and drawers yet because that's the next day.
Yep.
I come back the next day, install all the doors back where they came from, put the bumpers on and the new pulls, and voila, new kitchen.
That is amazing. That is incredible. And I love this, all the little details you're talking about the process. Sounds like thought a lot through. Okay, good. Get the drawers out. Do them in the shop because it'll take too long and, be too messy if I'm doing it in there. Getting the fridge out, getting a containment barrier, like all these little things. And I love that because the little things are the big things in business. And, that's how I am about my roofing. I'm just constantly thinking about how could they do this better? How could we do this better? How could we prep it better? How could we set the homeowner's expectations better, right? All of this sort of stuff. And just having that mindset toward this product that you want and pushing for it is just something beautiful in anyone who has like an entrepreneurial spirit or has a business. And anyway, just so cool. So what was I going to ask you? Okay. Here's something. One thing that there's a shortfall of, right? We're talking about professionalism in the home services. One of the challenges there is the people to do that work and do it professionally, like you. Like, I'm like, my goodness, if I needed my freaking cabinets painted, I would hire you because I could just tell the professionalism that you bring to the table and your care factor for it and all this stuff. But that can be a challenge, and sometimes people have trouble finding somebody like you, right? Or finding, or if you're a business owner, finding employees and people who want to do the work in that way and who really will come through on it. So what would you say, do you have any thoughts on that? Like what we can do as like people in the home services industries as business owners to kind of maybe inspire that next generation or inspire others to come into these industries and bring that same professionalism that we're kind of talking about?
I think it starts at home. I was taught when I was very young that work is super important. We have a strong work ethic throughout our family. I have 4 kids with strong work ethics.
Nice.
I think that's where it starts. But after that, I think the world kind of teaches you to be a professional, because if not, you will probably fail. How to find those people? I wish I knew, because I'm at a point now where I need to start finding them.
Right.
I need to expand and want to expand. I've partnered with some other painting companies that don't do cabinets because I get calls for exterior painting and other painting that I don't do. I don't mind interior, but I don't paint the outside of the house.
Yeah.
So, and going through that process and knowing the good subs has helped, but they're still just subs. When it comes to employees, I think that maybe setting up some type of a training trades program for the young guys or girls who come out of high school and don't want to go to college. There's a lot of kids who don't want to go to college. They want to go straight into a trade. I think that's a good idea, and it's something I've thought about. But like I said, we just sold all the staging. We're just getting ready to move into this full time. So those are all things that I'm thinking about. But not quite ready to pull the trigger on. Maybe we could talk about it again later, and you can give me some tips.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was gonna to totally agree with you on the training thing. I mean, my mindset in terms of this and what I'm really trying to push toward and doing right now is go like, okay, good. So this is what we want this professionalism, right? And go, okay, well, how can me as a company owner, right, create within my company the training, the culture, the values? Because there's training. That's awesome, right? You can show someone, good, this is exactly how you install a shingle roof, right? And they can understand that. But if they have that and they don't have the culture, which is the point we're talking about, which is just do stuff the right way. Do it like this. Do it as if it was your own home. Have integrity when you're up there working with them. They don't have that and they have that, you still won't get that, right? So
Right.
both pieces have to be there, not one without the other. So creating training and having training within, whether, for me, something I'm doing is just lots and lots of, I write up standard operating procedures. I write up policies. Okay, if I want a roof, preparation to go this way, I put it in writing. That way somebody can see it. Maybe some photos. Okay, good. That's how Trust Roofing wants the roof prepped, or that's how, your cabinet painting, company, that's how we want them painted. So this is key. But then also the other part that I think is even more important is that cultural aspect, and driving that into the entire company, into every worker that you have, like, hey, that's how we want to do things, right? Because if that really is there, it becomes contagious. Then people who step in, if they don't do it that way, and they're just going to end up, boom, you know what I mean? And it's neither bad, but it's like, hey, we do things this way. This is the culture at this company. And we're going to do things right? And if you have that really there, then the good ones are the ones who come in. But back to your point earlier of like kids coming out of high school and stuff like this, I think also educating on the opportunity in the trades as a career path. People who do it professionally, like you, like I. Sometimes people look at the trades and they, oh, that's what people do who couldn't figure anything else out, and they end up over there and they're in some van and they're doing it and whatever. No, this can be a professional career like any other. You can, whether you're going to own a company, whether you're going to manage in a company, be a foreman, be a leader, get into sales. I mean, there's so many different verticals in the trades, and within it, you can go work for supply and be technically still in the trades. Like, there's so many different verticals. So educating on that path and what's there, I think through that, we can attract more people. So I'm also trying to, talk to people who have never been in the trades before, and talk to them about this opportunity and get them started on the ground and show them not just, what that path can look like too.
And I know because I have two 18-year-old grandsons, but
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is something that young kids are really gravitating toward.
Yeah.
I think they maybe, because we all do when we're 18, have a little trouble figuring out what field.
Right.
But they do want to be their own boss. I think they see the benefit in that, and that getting dirty is not always a bad thing.
I love that. Something I was going to touch on there, something I'm working on in my company right now. And this is something that I saw one of the, he was an executive at like Shopify, right? Which is a big, shopping platform, obviously huge. Something he was talking about that they did very successfully in their company to grow to where they grew to was putting a culture into place of entrepreneurship. Like, because at the end of the day, even if you're, the warehouse manager here at Trust Roofing, or you're the person who's taking the calls at Trust Roofing, like what I try to, put in everybody is, hey, have that mindset in your role, own your role. If you think of a better way to do it, make that suggestion to me, right? If you think of a better way we can be doing that, make that suggestion. When you start to create that, you create a culture and an atmosphere where people are like interested in giving new ideas, bringing new things up, maybe going a little bit the extra mile on their job rather than just take orders, robotically, right? Or whatever, which sometimes can be the case. So that's something I've been starting to work on. But I agree, there's a huge gravitation toward entrepreneurship right now, which is wonderful. And part of the reason is there's so many opportunities across the board right now, which is awesome. So, just showing some of those individuals, hey, this is how that entrepreneurial spirit can be unleashed in like the trades industry toward great success, and educating them on that, I think is awesome. But
and
anyway.
I think incentivizing them
Yep.
is a good way to get them to move toward having that
Absolutely.
that ethic in their work.
I agree with that. And one of my thought processes on that is like, I don't want to be a low-paying roofing company. That's a value I hold. In my industry, I want to be a high-value roofing company, and that means that my employees are probably going to be paid a bit better, because that's going to be what, that's what we need to put out. I need them to put out more and more output. So rather than trying to bring in people and have them just be as low as possible, go, hey, wait a minute, what's the going rate? And maybe then a little bit above, like you were talking about doing for your homeowners, go a little bit above that going rate. However, this is what I expect. This is the culture I expect if you're going to work at this company that pays a bit above the going rate. Maybe it has some benefits that are different or, improved, right? We're trying to put in, like, we have health insurance now for our guys, dental for our guys, about to roll out, a 401k plan, really trying to professionalize like our overall compensation package. But it's not just that, oh, here's your incentivization. No, this is the culture And this is the quality of person and individual who operates with integrity and is competent on their job and et cetera in order to get that. So I completely agree with that, right? Incentivizing, right, but making sure that the standard is not only, hey, this is how that works. Like, I need you here, and then you're going to be here, and then holding them accountable to that. But yeah, that's like just so key. So, but anyway, well, thank you so much for coming on and back and forth. This has been amazing. If anybody in the Tampa Bay area, because you're local to Tampa Bay on this, is interested in your services, getting their cabinets restored, just to throw a quick plug out, I love the idea and I love the concept, because you mentioned something when we first got on the show before camera, is sometimes these cabinets that are brand new are going to be worse quality than your 30-year-old cabinets, just from a make standpoint. They don't make them anymore that way. And also, it's so much more expensive to fully pull everything off and go back on. So I love your, that thing you're doing of just, hey, I can restore them and they're going to be beautiful when you replace a knob, and then we're going to boom, boom, and then refinish them completely and utterly. And then now it's less money, but you actually end up with a better product than a full replacement. So I love that. I love what you're doing. If they want to reach out to you and are interested in any cabinetry work of that nature, how should they go about that?
Well, the website is chammowne.com.
Okay.
And my number is on there. It's pretty much everywhere. You can find me on all the social medias. And there's some good before and afters and things like that on there, and read my reviews. And
we'll drop those links for the socials and website and everything down in the description. Thank you so much for jumping on. I appreciate it, and we'll keep rocking and rolling.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.